My name is Alex Polowin, and during wartime my rank was able-bodied seaman. So I joined up, I felt good. I felt good joining up. That the very fact that I'm one of the million of volunteers who got into the military before the war was over, Canadians that is. When the war started, there were 13 million Canadians only. That's all. I got drafted to St. John's, Newfoundland, and it was HMCS Avalon, although it wasn't a ship. All the barracks were called HMCS, just as if they were a real ship. And the reason I think that has taken place is because they wanted to get you into a Navy routine. Think like a Navy person immediately. For example, I was late once. They don't call it being late, they call it going adrift. So they gave me a severe punishment, you know, which is excluded. It was that tough. But I learned I've never been late on an appointment since, and that's since 1942. Want to start talking about the invasion, D-Day. Actually, to me, it was a wonderful feeling. Winston Churchill gave me a sense of security. Whatever he said, I believed him. He got on there on June the 5th, and I can just shut my eyes and bring back the time. June the 6th. Now our job, like many people pointed out to me, well, you guys were lucky, you bombarded the coast and then you left. Nothing like that. No, we were in the channel about 7 months. Our job was to protect the people that were going in for D-Day, their ships, their boats that were there. That was our job. To find the enemy ships that were doing that, that were coming down to do that. We prevented them. We were designated to go on do merman's convoys. We and a few other Canadian ships, and we went into a place just close to merman's called Pagliarno. We'd either tie to a buoy or tie to a dock there, but we didn't stay too long because of the dangers there. There was Stuka dive bombers, which were a very ugly sounding attack plane that would dive down, and the sound of it would frighten you. And I know that we weren't attacked by it, but ships near us were, and you could hear that. Christmas Day, the 26th of December, 1943, came in contact with the Scharnhorst. And as I mentioned earlier, the whole thing was about bringing our convoy close to. The Scharnhorst would have a good feast on all of us. That was the way it was planned. And at that time, 2 Norwegian ships called Stord and Scourge left their position in the convoy. Small destroyers, 2,200 tons, but each carried 8 torpedoes. We carried 4, but they were called a fleet type destroyer. They went directly to the Scharnhorst, right ahead. Then of course they had to alter because the torpedo tubes had to be facing. And they fired at it, and they hit the Scharnhorst. Then they came back to their position in the convoy, and 50 miles behind us, there were 3 British cruisers with an escort of destroyers. They came on in, and they took on the Scharnhorst, kept firing at it continuously firing at it, and they were hit. And After that, in came the Duke of York when it was already sinking and hit it with one shell. Down it went, 3 in the afternoon. And there was only 35 or 37 lives left. The 2,000 and some odd lives all went down, were killed. And it was a wonderful feeling that we weren't the ones that were hit. Because, it would have been like a toy to them. And we got into Pagliarno, and they had a great big concert going on in there with all types of instruments, traditional ones, the balalaika, guitars, accordions, and there was dancers in there, lots of food, and finally a general got up, the army, and he spoke, and the party is about a celebration. Then we stopped the Nazis in Stalingrad, and it looks like it's the beginning of the end for the Nazis. That was a very, very, very hopeful feeling, knowing that, because you sort of connected to the rest of the world, not only Russia. They don't know. Some people ask me if I did any fishing, stuff like that. But they didn't know I think there was more of a mystique about the Navy than any of the other services. They knew that in the Army, there's individual combat, but in the Navy they don't know. How did you get along, and how's this and how's that? But it's frightening to them that the ship can be hit and go down. Yes, you're not so. The good thing about the Navy is you always had a square meal on board ship. If you were hit, torpedoed, you had it. That was it. Those were the chances you take. So it was a chance that I got into, and it worked out fine. Well, speaking about me, I want them to know that I sincerely feel that I was very fortunate to be me in the very fact that I've tried my best to bring about peace and make Canada a better place for all of us, and a better place in the world, in the eyes of the world. And I think I did my little share. If we're not around to tell them, how are they going to know? Who's going to tell them?